Hey there, Kindle kiddos. It is Mr. King again with another video. It's been a little while since I get a chance to upload a brand new one, but I'm going to do a couple as quickly as I can here, so expect a bunch to be popping up. What I want to talk to you guys about is we're going to make our own alien plants. This was a project where you made a 3D planter and have an alien plant popping out. It lets us imagine the adaptations that these plants and these things would have, whether they be a carnivorous or whether they be some, fruiting or flowering plants, or just something a little bit weird. Maybe the plant has antenna or some way to detect sounds, like an ear almost. And we were having a lot of fun talking about that. Different adaptations different animals and plants do have, and how to kind of do that with our own cool little thing right here. So how you make this, I'm going to teach you guys. This is actually from, I made these little helper pre-printouts, but I'm going to teach you can do this with just a regular piece of paper. I'm using cardstock. If you've got a thicker kind of paper, that actually is really nice to use, but you can do this with regular printer paper, or if you can, basically any kind of paper you can find. I wouldn't recommend construction paper, as it tends to be a little too floppy to make this easy to do, but you could still do it. So check it out. Here's what's going to go on. I'm going to first take my large full piece of 11 by 8.5 paper, which is just a regular printer paper, but mine's cardstock obviously, and I'm going to fold it in half hamburger style. Okay, the reason I'm going to fold it is I want that crease line to help me, because that is where I'm going to be cutting my paper in half. So the next step is, once you have that and you can see your crease line, you're going to take your scissors. I'm going to use these big ones just to speed things up, but you'll be using whatever you've got on hand, and you're going to cut your paper in half. This part is made out of two pieces of paper combined together at the end. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a pencil or a marker, whichever one you want to use, or anything really that you can make a mark with, and you are going to make some marks here. Now the first set of marks are going to be how wide you want your little planter to be. So I like mine to be about 1/3 of the size of the paper. So I'm going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to go halfway up. You can kind of eyeball this the best you can. You're going to make 2 straight lines about the width you want to make your little kind of cool space planter. Okay? So then what I want to do is I want to take my other paper here, and I'm going to work the opposite way. I'm going to draw 2 more lines that come down halfway in my paper, but this time I'm going to make them a little bit wider, because what I want to do is when I put these together, I want one paper to curve and make that cool 3D effect. So I'm going to go outside of the lines that I've already drawn, and I'm going to go halfway down on my paper again on either side. You kind of eyeball it the best you can for halfway. If you want to fold your paper to really see where that is, that's fine. But the whole point of this is you want to make sure you make it at least halfway. You can overshoot a little bit, but you really shouldn't undershoot, or else you have to recut your paper a little bit, which is not a big deal. So then the next part, you're going to cut each one of these papers down those lines that you've made. Okay? Now, the wider of the two is going to be the outside of your planter, or your little planting piece. So if I want to show you what I'm talking about, it is going to be this. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do, watch this. I'm going to take this one, this is the weird one. I'm going to draw a line connecting this, the wider one, and on the wider of one of the two, I'm going to actually cut away this tab here. And what I think really helps this out to look a little bit better is you can cut just a little further, just a tiny bit on either side here, just to help these kind of interlock together a little better when we're all done. So it's going to look like a big, kind of squared off capital U. This one right here, you can leave the way it is. This leftover paper we're going to get rid of. And what I'm going to do is now I'm going to focus. This is going to be like the pot container down here. So I can draw whatever kind of container I want to make. Okay, so there's what I'm going to draw right there. And then I can decorate that, make it look as awesome as I want to. So it's going to be like an alien thing, so like a compartment to hold my alien plant. So maybe I want to do some cool space things on it. And it's like a space planter. So I'm going to do some kind of funky stuff, right? Oh, actually, wait, I just realized one really funny thing. Anything you draw on the outside of this, you're not really going to see in the end outside of the pot. So I actually just ran into my own little problem of, oh yeah, I forgot. So you're going to decorate this. You can do some cool buttons or switches. Don't draw, like I was about to do, don't draw any wires going outside of it yet. You could do that later. I'll explain to you why as we get a little further along. But do some cool stuff right here. You can make some cool patterns on this if you want to. This is a space planner. It's going to look kind of neat. Got a stripe right there. And then I'd add some color to that. But the next part, let's wait on this and let's go work on the plant itself. So this one up here, I'm going to go straight into marker just to save time, but I would really ask you guys to start in pencil. But you're going to make a line connecting across the two of these cuts you've already made. And this is going to be where the soil is for your plant. So everything underneath right here, you can definitely color this and draw this and do cool stuff down here, but that's going to be inside of the pot piece. You're only going to see it at just the right angle looking down. Okay, so don't worry too much about what's down there. So now I can create a stem, maybe actually a couple of stems, because I want my plant to have more than one kind of like primary piece to it. And then I'm going to think about this. You know what I'm going to make this time? I'm going to draw a couple of circles here. Do one up here, right there. I'm putting them a little bit off of my stem because I want to leave some room for some petals, because I'm going to make these into flowers. Because it's from an alien planet, these flowers are not going to be your everyday normal flowers. In fact, what makes them really weird is these flowers are kind of like part of a larger plant-like creature. And I'm going to make them into eyeballs, which I think becomes kind of interesting. A little twist on your traditional flower. And because it has eyeballs, this plant is both a traditional plant that uses sunlight and water, but it's also going to have some carnivore traits. So I'm going to create some kind of little tentacles that it goes to grab things with to kind of pull them into the flower itself and maybe digest it somehow. So that's the fun thing about this. You can think about how your plant adapts, how it survives in an alien environment, which would be really cool. So whether it's on one of the moons of Jupiter like Europa, or whether it's on, some further planet off in a different galaxy, it's going to be totally up to you. So there are my eyeball plants. Let's give it some kind of imposing little tentacle, little suction cuppy arms, kind of like an octopus or a squid, which I think would be kind of neat. I'll have these ones kind of overflowing outside the side here. And again, I would definitely color these in. I'm not going to sit here and add color because I just don't want this video to take forever for you to see. So there we go. There you have it. You got your awesome, really crazy alien plant. You can make them as weird and wild as you want. You can make like a little dome around it. Maybe your plant breathes a different kind of gas than oxygen, or carbon dioxide for that matter. So what you would do after that is you've got your planter and you've got your plant. Now I actually want to slip these together so my planter is behind or in front of my plant right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this part right here on the side, and I'm going to fold over those tall tabs on the side of my planter here towards the front of it. And the reason is because when I finish this up, it's just going to look a lot better. Because what's going to happen is I'm going to put these in behind, and this is going to fold up front. So what I got to do, this is the hardest part, is you have to slip the planter into these little gaps here that you've made these cuts and kind of lock it into place. Now, if you're like me and you didn't make your cuts the perfect length, you'll notice there might be some spillover here on the top, but that is super easy to fix with just a little snip with your scissors. You can just lift it up, just get to that back page, and just trim it lower than the page that it's going to go onto. Okay? Okay, so the last thing you're going to need for this is either some tape or a glue stick. Now, I really kind of prefer glue stick for this, so I'm going to grab my glue stick right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel my plant page up to the planter side. I'm going to throw a big gob of glue back here, stick it down, go to the next spot, flip this up, put some more glue over here, stick it down, and now I have my really cool 3D alien plant sticking out right here. I really dig the way this works. You don't have to do alien plants to make this technique work. You can just draw flowers that are just pretty or something coming out of here, which could be really fun. Or if you want to take it to another level, you could make actual 3D paper flowers or ones out of pipe cleaners, and then literally kind of tape them behind the curve of the planter or on this back paper and have 3D actual flowers coming out from behind this. Kind of like it's almost like a sconce kind of thing. But I think this looks pretty awesome. It definitely needs color, but I'm not going to do that in this video because we're already pushing the 10-minute mark. But yeah, I just think it's a lot of fun. I hope you guys really enjoy this. It's super easy. You can do it with all the materials you have at home. The only big stuff you need are a pair of scissors to use, which most of you should have, or some glue and tape. Past that, it's just markers, crayons, colored pencils, whatever you'd like to draw with, okay? So I hope you guys have a blast with this. Please, I love seeing pictures of what you've created, so do not feel like embarrassed to throw your stuff up on Google Classroom and show it off. And I hope you guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you again for another art project later on. See you.